Well, I think if we want to segue to the haikus from
Okay.
Richard Wright,
Yeah, sure, sure.
um, you had a tough situation at the beginning of that because you were waiting for someone else to load the lesson for you, and you had a blank screen for quite a while, and you just kept talking and you acknowledged students by name. You had them give a thumbs up, and I feel like you were identifying all the students as individuals right at the beginning, which is what you're going to do in a traditional classroom.
Yeah.
And that's going to help. And I think that helped later in the lesson, maybe, for them to know that, like, you saw them, you knew they were there,
Yeah.
and you had expectations.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I need to feel that dead air.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I felt the haiku lesson maybe was easier because haikus are smaller, they're
Hmm.
more, I guess they're more transparent, less difficult. Although, again, it's not to say that they're necessarily simple. But I think that, I think that, I think it went well because I don't think it was too complex.
Hmm.
I made use of time pretty well.
Hmm.
The student didn't have to say, my next lesson is it's coming, and wrap it up,
Yeah.
something like that. So the timing was better.
I thought
Um,
it was very successful.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
good.
And that shows, I mean, look at the difference between that and Theme for English B.
Yeah,
And you already were throwing all sorts of cool engagement things in there.
yeah,
You didn't give up on a student who was trying to answer. You encouraged, this idea of, like, keep thinking, keep trying to answer. Um, and I think that, including the Zen art, like the cool cross curricular
yeah.
items, that was very interesting. And again, it's the theme that you have as an instructor, I think, which
Hmm.
is that you are, sorry, my child is screaming
No,
in the
that's okay. I
background.
totally understand. No.
um, you you treat them like they are interesting and intelligent and have something to say.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, you were kind of having a philosophical discussion with them in a way, um,
Right.
and leading them to the haiku instead of just being like, all right, here's a haiku, 575.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and you had
True.
a lot of really cool involvement, ways for them to be involved. I mean, I think, for your last lesson, it's a really nice ending because it shows a lot of things about you as a teacher,
Hmm.
and your core, in terms of holding kids to high expectations and trying to make it interesting, making it personal.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, I think I think it's a really good way to go out.
No, no, definitely. I was lucky that I never read Richard Wright, never read Native Son, and I was lucky to find out that Richard Wright, in his last year of life, he was he became obsessed with the haikus, and
Hmm.
and very lucky for me because I also I mean I do like Buddhism. I have read Buddhism,
Hmm.
and I think students need to become. I mean, it would be amazing if more schools would be able to convince or they implement some kind of mindfulness type of,
Yes.
you know, kind of disciplining the mind. And, it just has so many, I was just reading an article about how to be happy with just kind of like, what was the title of the New York Times? It was like, don't strive to just kind of like in life, don't strive to do too much. And like the middle way is good enough,
Hmm.
because if you try to strive, it actually can backfire, like creating too much stress for you. And it's really, anyway, maybe it's a little different, but but in the Buddhism was an example. And anyway, just I think that coincidentally somehow, yeah, I think you're right that it is a good way to finish the lesson, because
Mm-hmm.
I think students could greatly benefit from just becoming more aware of how they feel inside, instead of looking outside at silly friends or
Mm-hmm.
Instagrams and just the noise that
Mm-hmm.
in our culture that is just distracting and poisonous. Anyway, yeah. So
Well, and they have inner lives, but I don't think most people credit teenagers with having inner lives. And I think that, again, you do. And you are interested in them, and you think that they're human,
mhm,
and you think that they are smart enough to figure it out, whatever it is.
mhm,
And, unfortunately, a lot of teachers maybe have too much on their plate, their collective plate, to
yeah,
remember that. So
right, true.
hold on to that.
Yeah, no, I do have. I'm silly that way. I have this ideals of
Hmm.
trying to inspire, to share as much knowledge of what I learned
Hmm.
from my readings, to share with the world. And yeah, so well, thank you.
Well, and your Eastern European soul, you have a different perspective than,
It's true. That is true. I grown up under communism and seeing
hmm.
repression, oppression, seeing dictatorship in my own family. Seeing, you know, just yeah, because of the negativity that I experienced in my early life, taught me a lot how to become aware of just kind of seeing different sides of the world,
Hmm.
which kids growing up in the US, which doesn't really have like these kind of extremes. Yeah, I think I definitely have something to share with,
I do too.
you know because I have probably something to learn from them.
Yeah, exactly.
uh, so they could work out great in the end.
Hmm.
Yeah, what else can we say? Yeah, and I do like art. I like painting.
Hmm.
Again, maybe because we didn't have a lot of things in communist Romania, and I'm like a kid who is glad to discover new things.
Yeah.
At 46 years old.
Well, and especially with art, yeah, hang on a minute.
No, don't have a meeting.
Okay, I'll be right there.
I just eat my tea.
Yay.
Look, I have cookie.
Go out by Dada.
Can I have cookie?
I think that
Uh-huh.
bringing the art in as well is really valuable, as lots of electives and fine arts get cut from curriculum.
Uh-huh.
And some of these kids aren't going to be exposed to any sort of real art any other way. So
No, it's true. Yeah, and it's easy because a lot of things are online nowadays. A lot of great artwork. They're free, and you don't have to go to a museum. Of course, it's great if you can go to a museum, but
right, but if you can't, yeah, I think that's awesome. So are you completely pretty much done? You just need to upload?
yeah, pretty much done. Yeah, I mean, it was just
Wow.
videos and just this conversation that I'm having with you
Uh-huh.
about the standards.
And then what is next? Will you
Next is the Nobel Prize.
be really?
No. I
mean, like you're done with your teach now.
Yeah, I'm done with the
clinical-
teach now, but I have to take the praxis test.
Oh, okay. Uh-huh.
That thing.
I did that 100 years ago.
Yeah. and then apply for the Washington D.C. Licensing,
Mm-hmm.
and then I would have to apply for reciprocal
Yes.
with Oregon, where I live, and then find a job.
Yeah. Hey.
I mean, I have a bunch of jobs now, but
Yeah, but
my goal is
maybe.
to find more like a full-time job
Yeah.
with benefits.
Oh, wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah.
Well, I encourage you to keep my info and contact me
Yes.
when you're applying for real jobs.
Yes.
If they need to know something, I'd be happy
Yes.
to tell
No,
them.
definitely. I would. I'm always like cringing when I have to reach the not anymore, but it's like the references and stuff like that, and
No, yeah, I get it. It's no
those
one
things.
loves.
Like, I always hated to ask for help from people.
Yes, yeah.
Even
Well,
if I know they like me, but
mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just like,
Yeah.
what if they don't like me anymore? I don't know, whatever. Maybe they just saw through me more. What?
No, I totally get it. I hate that. But I want you. I mean, because you did all the work.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think any school district and school would be super lucky to have you, especially because of your life experience. You're not a 24-year-old fresh out of college
Yes.
who is going to be like, maybe I'll go teach for a couple of years. Like,
yeah.
I believe that you'll get a job. I don't see why you wouldn't.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Unless Oregon isn't hiring any teachers ever again. But
No.
I'm pretty sure they need to, so.
Yeah, well, we have a lot of super educated people here in Portland. Is like a magnet for hipsters with liberal arts degrees.
And refugees from where I live, San Francisco, right? Everyone's moving up there.
Yes, we try to run you off the road all the time.
That's what I heard.
California license plate. It's like
I have heard that.
No, I mean, look, probably like half of people are here from California.
Or somewhere else, right?
Yeah, I mean, they brought coffee and yoga. We're very grateful.
Oh, that's hilarious. Okay, well, I will get all that uploaded tonight, and I have greatly enjoyed our conversations.
Yes, me too. Thank you.
You are a true colleague, I think. I think you'll be people will want to sit next to you in staff meetings.
Thank you, Polly.
It's my pleasure, Emil.
Likewise.
Have a great night.
Yes, you too.
Okay, bye.
Enjoy your family. Thank you.
I will, you too. It's all that really matters.
Thank you. Exactly.
Bye.
Bye.